The water swallowed his screams. Arms thrashing, lungs burning, and vision blurring, 14-year-old Marcus felt the cruel grip of 3 boys pressing him beneath the pool's surface. Their laughter echoed in his head, muffled by the rush of water filling his ears. He had always known the kids at Ridgeway High looked at him differently. His skin color, his quiet confidence, his unwillingness to bow to their taunts. But he never thought they would go this far. Marcus wasn't just fighting for air. He was fighting for survival. When the bullies finally released him, Marcus pulled himself up from the water, gasping, coughing, every muscle trembling with rage and humiliation. The boys laughed, mocking him. "Can't even swim, huh? Go back to where you belong." Their voices cut deeper than the chlorine burning his throat. Marcus stood there drenched, shivering, but behind his wet lashes, a fire was lit. He wasn't just some helpless kid. He carried within him years of discipline. Years of lessons that his late father had drilled into him. Martial arts training that had become more than just kicks and punches. It had become his way of life. But in that moment, Marcus didn't fight back. His master's words rang in his mind. Strength without control is destruction. Patience turns weakness into power. That night, Marcus stared at himself in the mirror. His skin still smelled of chlorine. His body still ached from being held under. But his reflection didn't show defeat. It showed determination. The bullies thought they had broken him. What they didn't realize was that they had awakened something greater. Over the next few weeks, Marcus faced challenges that went beyond the pool incident. The bullies spread rumors, painting him as weak, calling him a coward who couldn't stand up for himself. Even some of the kids he thought were his friends started to distance themselves, afraid of being targeted next. At home, his mother noticed his silence, the way he would retreat into his room after school. She tried to comfort him, but Marcus didn't want pity. He wanted justice, not through revenge, but through proving his strength in a way that could never be denied. His opportunity came sooner than expected. Ridgeway High was hosting a charity martial arts demonstration, inviting students to perform for the community. Marcus's sensei encouraged him to join. At first, Marcus hesitated. Performing in front of the entire school, with his tormentors in the audience, felt terrifying. But then he remembered that night in the pool, the helplessness he had felt, and how he had sworn never to feel that way again. The day of the event, the gym buzzed with chatter. The bullies sat near the front, smirking when Marcus walked onto the mat. Some students whispered, doubting he even belonged there. But when Marcus bowed to his sensei, and the demonstration began, the room fell silent. His movements were fluid, precise, and powerful. Every strike a story, every block a lesson in control. The audience could see it wasn't just performance. It was discipline, dedication, and resilience poured into every motion. When Marcus executed a flawless spinning kick that cracked through a board, even the bullies sat stunned. But Marcus wasn't performing for applause. He was telling them, without words, "You tried to drown me, but I will rise every time." After the event, whispers turned into respect. Teachers congratulated him, students looked at him differently, and even some who had once ignored him now sought his friendship. The bullies tried to mask their shame with jokes, but their laughter was hollow. They couldn't erase the image of Marcus, unshaken, commanding the stage with a strength they never knew he had. The greatest challenge Marcus faced wasn't the pool, the rumors, or even the bullies themselves. It was the choice between revenge and restraint. Every time he saw them in the hallways, every time they muttered under their breath, he wanted to fight back. But he remembered his father's lessons, that true martial artists don't fight to destroy, but to protect and inspire. So Marcus let his actions speak louder than any punch ever could. Months later, one of the bullies, Ethan, the one who had pushed him hardest into the water, found himself cornered by older kids in a parking lot. Outnumbered and terrified, Ethan didn't know what to do. To his shock, Marcus appeared, calmly stepping between them. He didn't need to throw a single punch. His presence, his confidence, and the quiet authority in his eyes made the aggressors back off. Ethan couldn't understand why Marcus had helped him. After everything he had done, Marcus simply said, "Because I know what it feels like to be drowning, and no one deserves that." That moment changed everything. Ethan apologized, truly and deeply, and over time, the two built an unlikely friendship. The other bullies eventually faded into the background, no longer able to control Marcus with fear. Marcus had faced humiliation, cruelty, and the weight of being different. But instead of letting it drown him, he used it to rise higher, stronger, and more disciplined than ever before. His story became a reminder to everyone at Ridgeway High, and to anyone who had ever felt powerless, that true strength is not in how hard you can hit, but in how deeply you can endure, rise, and inspire. By the end of the year, Marcus stood taller than ever, not just as a martial arts prodigy, but as a symbol of resilience. He had transformed pain into purpose, and in doing so, he became the hero of his own story.